The question for today is, does sickness teach us a lesson? I'm going to repeat it one more time. Does sickness teach us a lesson? And my answer to that is no and yes. But let's first go back into scripture and see what scripture says. Now, John 10:10 says that the enemy has come to kill, steal, and destroy. That is his MO. And then Jesus added on that same verse, but I have come to give you life and life in abundance. So now that we established that sickness doesn't come from God, it comes from the enemy, and that God, through Jesus, said, I want to give you life and life in abundance. Let's look at, okay, where is the lesson? And some people always ask, there's some type of lesson. I think, at least for me, when I was going through that COVID episode, I learned a lot of different things. I learned more about myself. I learned about my relationship with God. I learned about how important it is to be constantly pouring scripture, because that's what comes out when you're in crisis. I learned so many different things. There were lessons that I learned that are invaluable. But you don't get illness so that you can learn a lesson. It just happens because you're going through some type of adversity. And in reality, you learn a lot more when you're going through adversity. It is. That's what it is. But I think that some of the lessons that do come up is, okay, for example, how am I caring for my body? Maybe I need to forgive. Do you know that there are certain illnesses that happen because we hold grudges, because we're constantly stressed out about certain situations or certain people who have hurt us in the past? And maybe it's time to forgive and to let go. Maybe you'll learn more about your relationship with God. I mean, when we're in crisis, let's be honest, when we're in crisis, we really dive in and start to seek and look for God and ask him for help, and we're constantly before his presence. I think that sometimes when things are really good, we kind of, relax. And when we're in an illness, and it's a very serious illness where we don't know what's going to happen in the future, whether we're going to get better or not, I think that that's where we really dig in. And so for me, I think that it was one of my greatest lessons was how important it was for me to foster and nurture and deepen my relationship with God, because it's all about relationship. One of the things that happened during my illness was that I got stripped of everything. And I'm going to be sharing more about my story soon. But I got stripped of everything. I got stripped of my health, which meant that I couldn't do anything that I usually did that I really, really loved. And so it was just me and God. That's what it came down to. It was just me and God. So to answer the question again, it's a no and a yes. Sickness doesn't come from God. But yes, God will use a situation to help us through, to gain insight, to grow in so many different areas. I just can't tell you how many areas I grew in during that experience. God uses it. As a matter of fact, it says in Romans 8:28 that all things work together for good for those who love God and walk according to his purpose. So if you love God and walking according to his purpose, he's going to turn that ugly stuff, that stuff that traumatized you, that crisis that you went through, and he's going to turn it around for good. And I see that in my life, and I know that it can happen for you as well.